Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha, and as you guys can tell, it's a little bit foggy today. I still wanted to do a video today because it's just so beautiful, but it is rainy and foggy and just so mystical. I just love the fog. I think it's so romantic. In this video, I want to speak to you guys about how INFJs don't like talking on the phone. I think we just generally don't like talking on any kind of implement that separates us from that individual. First of all, we don't like chatting in general about random nonsense things. So if some people are the kind of people who talk every day, who call just to chat about the weather, who chat about what's going on with you, what are you doing, where are you going, and all that stuff, that will not work for us. So we're not usually friends with those kind of people anyways. At least I'm not. But in general, even just me calling my mother to update her on what's going on with me, especially because I travel around a lot and I'm always on my own and I'm always roaming around in sometimes dangerous places or dangerous according to other people. And so there's always this kind of impetus, this kind of thing on my head from my parents that says, call us once a week so we know that you're alive. Call us once. I mean, they'd love it if I called once a day or texted them once a day. But at least call them once a week to let them know that everything's fine. It just doesn't make any sense to me because I just don't like the idea of calling, be like, okay, hi, I'm fine, I'm alive, and everything's good. If that was the case, I could just text them. But no, they actually want to hear my voice, they actually want to know that I'm safe. And I know I'm being a spoiled brat when I say this, but it just really is an annoyance to me because I just don't like talking on the phone. Now, of course, because I have chosen this lifestyle and I know that my parents have to deal with it a lot, I have learned to like it. I've learned not to like it, actually. I've learned to deal with it. So that I actually put it in my schedule every week that, I have to call my parents, call my mother, and I put it down on my schedule every Sunday. And I'll pick up the phone and I'll dread it the whole day. I'll be sitting there in my room doing my work and thinking about it. Oh my God, I have to call my mother. Not that I don't like talking to her. She's really, really smart, really fun, and she's entertaining. So it's nice to talk to her. I just don't like the idea of sitting down for a few minutes, for an hour and chatting with someone on the phone. Now, what I've learned certain techniques to kind of make it a little bit easier, of course, because that's how I do things. I like to optimize everything. If I'm going to do something anyways, if I have to do it every single week, then I want to make sure that I'm doing it in the best way possible. So what I do now, or when I am traveling, because I am in Toronto right now and I'm living with them, so they're fine. They don't worry about me. But when I do leave again, I actually, whenever I'm not near them, what I try to do, or I really, really try to do, if I'm not just messaging them, I try to make sure that I put it on my schedule to call them at least once every 2 weeks, at least every 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully. I would like it if it was every week, but I know I procrastinate on it, and so it ends up being every 2 or 3 weeks. And even then, I think to myself, this is such a waste of my time, not because I don't want to talk to them and not because I don't want to know what's going on with them, but what happens is that we generally just chat. They'll just send me text messages during the week telling me what's going on with them, and I'll send them text messages during the week telling them what's going on with me. And so we are already conversing and already are updated on what's going on with each of us. So why do we need to talk more about what's going on with us? It doesn't make any sense to me. But in any case, what I do usually nowadays, if I have to have a phone conversation, as much as possible, if I can, I will go for a walk while I'm talking on the phone. So, I'll have my headset on, I'll be walking around, I'll be roaming around the city, looking at different things, doing my sightseeing or just chilling out and having a conversation at the same time. Which means that, not that it feels like less of a waste of time, but not only that, my restless energy, because just sitting there and talking on the phone makes me feel really, really restless. It makes me feel physically anxious. It's like I'm just sitting here talking about stuff I really don't care about. Why? So just going for a long walk, kind of roaming around the city, or just going for a walk and having a conversation at the same time really releases a lot of physical anxiety, the social anxiety that I'm feeling, and I'm able to still have a conversation with them and feel good about the fact that I've updated them and they feel good and I feel good, and it's a all around great situation. The only problem in this situation is that, when I'm on the road and I'm talking around and I'm walking around, sometimes maybe a topic of conversation comes up that is a little bit irksome, and we start perhaps yelling at each other or having a heated debate, if you want to call it. And I just don't like having these kind of conversations, obviously, in public. It's just not right. I don't like to put that kind of negative energy on other people. I don't like it when other people put that negative energy on me. And so I really like to kind of, if I'm going to have a difficult conversation, I want to make sure that I'm at home when I'm having that conversation, so no one else has to be perturbed by it. Now, of course, that can't always be managed. So sometimes I do have these conversations, fights if you want to call it, or arguments or debates, when I'm walking around the city, when I'm around other people. Now, Asian people, as you guys might know or might not know, they don't really like anyone calling attention upon themselves, and they don't like calling attention upon other people. Everyone's very quiet, no one is yelling or putting the spotlight on them. That's one of the reasons I love them so much. They have this thing about not losing face in front of other people, or not making other people lose face either, right? And so they are very quiet, they're very polite, they're very courteous, and all of that results in the fact that if you're yelling, and usually it ends up being the foreigners who are yelling and screaming and being rowdy, and so if you're doing that, you're basically disrespecting them in a certain way, I believe, at least. I hate being disrespectful in that manner. And especially Thai people, they're really, really nice, really quiet, and really polite, very courteous. And so I really don't like doing that in front of Thai people. And I'm extremely careful to be quiet, to be polite, and to give them the same kind, to be the same kind of person as they are, to afford them that reciprocity, right? I don't want to be that loud, raucous foreigner who's yelling at her mother on the phone while there's people around me who are being quiet and walking around in silence, embodying the learnings of Buddha. It doesn't make any sense to me. Not that I'm saying that they never yell, but it's very rare that they do. So I just don't like that kind of sense. The reason I wanted to do this video is because I noticed that a lot of you guys have this thing where it's this thing that we live in a world of extroverts, right? And so we need to learn, as I've said before, over and over again, we cannot live in this world. It's hard to live in this world and not follow the rules of the world, right? Like, you have to live in the real world. It's very easy for an INFJ to spend all of their time, or an introverted person to spend all of their time in their head. And I agree, that's the best place to spend your time. I would spend all of my time in my imaginary worlds in my head, because they're the best places to be. I created them. I love them. And so I want to spend all my time there. But of course, I have to live in the real world, especially if I want to create an impact in the real world. I have to do it here. I can't make an impact in my head and pretend like I've done something good in my life, right? And so if you need to live in the real world, we need to learn how to use real world skills. We need to be present in this moment. We need to be present in this world as it is, not in our imaginary world, but in this world. And one of the things that people do all the time is communicate, not only face to face, obviously, but on the phone. Now, it's such a stupid little thing, right? I'm sure you're thinking, oh my God, I can talk on the phone. But really, the essence of it is that we are terrible communicators, especially spoken word, right? And also if it's not face-to-face. When we're face-to-face with someone, we can see their emotions, we can see their feelings, we can read them really well. And so if someone gets uncomfortable, we can back off a little bit. If someone gets angry, we can, maybe placate them a little bit. So we know how to deal with people, especially if it's face-to-face. But on the phone, it gets really, really difficult. Unfortunately, if you work in the corporate world, a lot of your conversations are going to happen on the phone. I do, and I used to do a lot of Skype calls for my work. It's just the way of the world. If you're going to live in this world, a lot of your colleagues are not going to be situated right in the same city as you are. They're going to be all over the world. They're going to be situated in Australia and New Zealand and Thailand and America and Mexico. They're going to be all over the world. And so you're going to have to not only learn how to communicate with all these individuals on this kind of implement, on Skype or on the phone, but also to be able to gauge them on the phone, all of their emotions, their feelings, their cultural differences, their life experiences, the way they look at women sometimes perhaps is very different. Perhaps the way they look at introverted people is very different. If you're not very boisterous in certain cultures, you're considered to be stupid. So there's so many different things I have to consider in order to live in this real world. And I'm always trying to poke at you guys, little by little, to become more aware of the fact that we can't really spend all of our time in our imaginary world. I know we want to, and I really want to as well. I wish I could spend all of my time in my head. but we can't. And so I really implore you guys to learn how, just develop some skills, as I said, spoken word skills obviously, but also skills on how to communicate better on Skype or on the phone with people from all different cultures, because those are the kind of skills that are going to be paid really well in the future, not skills like the ones that we have right now of hiding in our room and daydreaming. All right, I hope this makes sense to you guys. I hope that you guys have an amazing day wherever you are, and if you guys have any questions at all, please let me know. It is, as I said, foggy and rainy here. You can see the river is really hyped up behind me because of the rain. But I just thought it'd be nice to have the flow of river behind me while I'm speaking to you guys about these random topics. I hope you guys like it, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.